You can never tell with the games that come out in March if they're going to knock your socks off or not, but one that certainly has is Yoshi's Crafted World for the Nintendo Switch. I guess you can never count Nintendo out. You can always sort of count on them to deliver something that exceeds expectations. Well, that's exactly what they have done here with Yoshi's Crafted World, and I have to say that I haven't enjoyed a game that has focused on Yoshi as much as this one since Yoshi's Island for the Super Nintendo, which is one of my favorite games for that platform, and it's one of my favorite games that Nintendo has released. And so I always jump into the Yoshi's games, and Yoshi's Woolly World was kind of fun, and I liked Yoshi's Story 64, and I've enjoyed them, but they haven't taken my breath away until this game. This game is a masterpiece. The whole idea kind of looks like people at Nintendo and the development studio Goodfeel were playing a lot of Little Big Planet and maybe looking at what Media Molecule has been doing with Dreams. It's almost like everything has been crafted out of cardboard and paper and taped together and pastel crayons and all that stuff. So it's extrapolating on the pastel design of Yoshi's Island, this sort of 3D construct of Yoshi's Story 64, the Woolly World kind of mechanics, but Goodfeel has taken all of these design aesthetics to the nth degree and has crafted a cinematic wonder. It almost looks like some kids on YouTube found a bunch of the Yoshi amiibo and built a whole sort of video sequence with them all. You know, everything kind of looks photoreal and wonderful and so expertly crafted. And I think it's almost like a bit of a commercial too for Labo and for, you know, what you can do with the magic of cardboard and your imagination. You're, of course, on the hunt for a gem, a magical gem. And what you're trying to do is get back to your Yoshi's Island, and you're collecting a bunch of gemstones. And what they've done is they've taken the egg-throwing mechanic that Yoshi has had in a bunch of his titles, and they've given us all kinds of layers in each of these beautiful worlds that they've crafted for us, no pun intended, to hurl in different directions. So you can hurl into the background, and the game will actually focus on objects as your cursor sort of tracks what you should be shooting at, or you can hurl at objects that are in the foreground. And so that constantly gives you this sort of hide-and-seek attitude as you're progressing through the game. The levels are so intelligently and intricately and beautifully designed, you're going to want to go and explore them, and you're going to want to find the little red coins that you might have missed, or hunt down the souvenirs for the little cute cardboard robots that ask you to find little extras for you. And then, of course, you're going to get into boss fights. None of the boss fights are that particularly difficult, but they're enjoyable and rewarding, and the challenge ramps up nice and easily. But then, of course, because of all the different sort of mechanics involved in finding all the secrets, there's lots and lots and lots of game to give back to you. What you can do after you've beat the level is you can go back and hunt down all of these little poochies that have gone missing inside of the game world, and you're going to get rewarded with new flowers, which will unlock new stages and new areas for you. And as strange a comparison as this is, it reminded me a lot of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, which was a super fast action platformer, and you would whip past all kinds of little secrets and little collectibles, and that's what Yoshi's Crafted World has done. I can't say anything bad about this game. It certainly, maybe isn't as ambitious a title as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Super Mario Odyssey. I would say that the costumes that you do find in this game, they're a nice treat, but sometimes they stick out in weird proportions around Yoshi's body, so they make some of the jumps a little trickier. And speaking of those jumps, because the mechanics are all weird, and we know that Yoshi has not only the egg throwing mechanic, but the floaty jump kind of sequence, sometimes making those jumps becomes a little punishing, a little difficult. I noticed while I was playing and trying to time my jumps just right, my daughter kept putting up her leg, and she was just getting into it. I'd press the button, and she'd put up her leg until I would make the jump, and she was getting into it just watching it, and she played some of the earlier stuff as well. Actually, I asked Ruby what her thoughts on this game are, so let's hear from her right now.
There's a lot of things to do in it. Like, when we thought we were finished the whole game, we weren't even finished at all. Like, there's a lot more things to do. And one of the levels that I really like, you could go in like big Yoshi costume and then punch things with like these boxer gloves they look like, but they was actually just his hands. I liked how there was not like other games, how there was like the same bad guy in every level. I liked how there's different bad guys in each level, and some bad guys that you couldn't even defeat, you just had to dodge them.
This is an absolute treasure. I know it's at a weird time. I know that there's rumors of new Switch hardware potentially out later this year, and everybody's kind of waiting for that next sort of Zelda caliber masterpiece. I think we're going to be waiting a little while for that, but don't ignore this incredible game. I think this is as deserving of your attention as anything that Nintendo has put out. Yoshi's Crafted World, for me, is an absolute masterpiece. It's a beautiful game, an incredibly difficult one to put down. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Absolutely phenomenal.